What is going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Going live over on Wimkin right now. Looks like we are live 100% over on Wimkin. Punching out of that. Phone lines are open, folks. 804-212-2208. Olivia is off tonight, so Leroy and Amy are also off. I'm running solo, and that's okay. We got a good show for you tonight. Whitney Wheatley, good evening. Deborah, welcome to the show. Vicky, I know you're over there watching somewhere on Twitter. Welcome. Dale, Tommy, what's going on? Good to have you all here. Tonight, covering veterans who believe the assassination attempt on Donald Trump was fake. I tell you what, my brothers in arms are making it harder and harder for me to not say a few words. We're going to talk about Zuck, walk you through the censorship, and I'm here to tell you, it's worse than what he's saying. And we'll go into it, talk a little bit about it. You can also share your stories if you want, worst stories of fact-checking or censorship, whatever it would be. Amy, hello. Darla, hello. Got a lot of people. Hey, Matt, I just got a message saying Trump got indicted again today. I'm sure they're going to indict him for... It's always something. What's new? James, what's up? Chef Lady, Cat. What's up, everybody? Looks like we've got $2,993.39 on the donation list. If you haven't had a chance to donate this month, now's the time. Need some help. Let's see if we can make a good donation night. Usually they're not the best without Olivia on. We'll be right back. The DUM Club, folks, we have our Zoom meeting on Saturday, end of month. We are sending out the first gift boxes. A little bit late, but we're getting them out there. This is just a way for all the DUM Club Nation to come back, give back a little bit, but also receive. There are several perks. You can go over to the dumclub.com, take a look, and see if you can find a package that works for you. The dumclub.com helps the show, helps you. It just makes everyone help each other, I guess. I don't know. Go over there. I think Ryan Weaver's up. Hello.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Weaver. I am on the Don't Unfriend Me show, otherwise known as The DUM Show, with host Matt Spear. You guys can find the show at The DUM Show on social media or thedumshow.com.
Go over to WimKit and sign up. Step into a WimKit.
Adjusting transmitter output. This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What is going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? I'm all alone tonight. Nobody is in the house except for me. And, it'll be all right. We'll find a way to survive. One of my lights is here. I got to save. I got to fix this. This has been driving me absolutely crazy. And I got to fix it. This has got to be red. And that will fix the background. Make it all purty. Turn it up. Not too bright, not too bright, not too bright. There we go. Just highlight the back. There we go. Save. Update the DUM Show. Update the lights. We spare no expense here, folks. This is just what we do. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Good to have you here, everybody. I'm in a good mood. I want to be transparent. I feel like I've stepped away and took a little mini vacation for a little bit. You guys may have noticed that not as many memes and recorded show. And I'm kind of, maybe news is every other day. And I'm just kind of taking a little bit of a break. It felt good. It's been about a week and a half. And after the whole Spreely thing and that fiasco, I just kind of slowed down a little bit. Not in any way, shape, or form, didn't work. I didn't push it as hard. And slept in a little bit, got a couple days where I slept in until 7 and 8. And then, like today, I came in and I posted last night's show on the podcast and I stopped and it felt good. It really did. And I've needed it. And I think if you've done anything for 4 years, it's exhausting. I don't care what it is. I couldn't have sex for 4 years. I couldn't eat steak for 4 years. Well, okay, those things most assuredly, but everything else, holy moly, Stacy Snow, thank you. $10.80. Thanks for kicking it off. Right. You put us over 3,000. Now we are, quick math. $495.81 away. So if you can help us out, we would appreciate it. But anyway, I just need to step away a little bit. I was just 4 years of doing this over and over every single night, trying to find something to say. And what I've realized is that instead of making a video every single day, to find something to inspire, I think I need to be inspired. I need to see something that truly motivates me. And I think we found it tonight. And the live shows are easy to do because there's always something, but the recorded shows are a little bit different. So I think what we'll do is get a nice healthy amount of news coming from the news site, get those maybe 15-minute shows, but broken up into 5 minutes and covering 3 topics. Because I think what happens is that the AM news takes place and then I focus on what's going on in the PM. So if I can do that in the morning and just like hit the 3 topics of the day, that way I can get my take out there, because I think people want that. I think they want to know what I'm thinking, but sometimes I won't cover it for 12 hours. And by that time, people have already kind of formulated their opinions and have looked into it themselves. So just giving you an idea of where we're going to be. So that's it. Just been a really, really good couple days of just relaxing a little bit. But we're going to get busy tonight. There is a whole bunch going on. Texas announces, my Lord. This is interesting. By the way, folks, Olivia is on. If you want to say hi, she's monitoring. She's going to go take a shower and do her hair. It's her shower and hair night. And I don't understand, whatever. But she's going to go do that. So she's monitoring. So if you guys want to help the show, linktapgo.com/thedumshow. It doesn't matter if it's your first night or you've been here a million years. Everybody gives when they can, what they can, and helps out the show to keep it on air. And we appreciate that. Let's get to it. Texas announces, this is Governor Abbott, my ex-governor, and when I lived in Texas, a great guy, confined to a wheelchair most often, extremely conservative, has had some moments of trying to play both sides of the aisle a little bit, but overall, I think that's over, especially with the border. He's not playing around anymore. So Texas had to purge 1.1 million names from the voting rolls since 2020. Let me say that again. 1 million names since 2020. Now, California, I believe, has 54 million people, if I'm not mistaken. Texas is probably 27 to 30 million. So if Texas since 2020 has 1 million and California has never purged their voter rolls, I know Nevada and Arizona were looking to obviously do that. But California must have at least 2 million just from 2020 alone. And if they're not scrubbing these, what does that mean? So the checks are going to be required monthly. I think this should be a federal law. I honestly do. I think every state should monitor its overall electorate inside their state, because I understand why some states don't want to do it. We know why California doesn't want to do it. They gained 7 seats in this census, and that's why. But we're another 8 years away from a census, so it's a good time to do it. And if these states want to go ahead and hold on to it in the last year of the census just to, fudge the numbers, I really don't care, because if everyone does it. But this whole thing, when there's an election year, one as large as this, and you've got 1 million voters who are no longer living in Texas or have passed away or whatever. Hello. Yeah, Virginia did it as well. We purged. So we signed election integrity bill SB 1 into law. Of course, Democrats are saying it's voter suppression. Listen, not everything is voter suppression. I mean, give me a break. The first thing is they said black people couldn't get a voter ID because it's racist against black people, because black people don't know how to get IDs, but they have to get it for food stamps. They got to get it for hunting licenses. They got to get it to drive a car. And no, I didn't start with food stamps. It just kind of was the first one I hit. There's over 76 different things statewide that are consistent amongst all states that require a driver's license, from buying cigarettes to registering to vote to whatever it is. You have to have proof of ID and proof of residence. And if you don't have that, you default to your driver's license. There's plenty of things that you have to do. We could all sit here together and think about it, even writing a check, getting into a bar, whatever it may be. Donating blood, you have to have an ID. There's so many different choices. So what they're saying is that black people don't participate in any of those things. They never go to a ball game and buy a beer. No black person ever in the United States of America has ever bought a beer at a ball game. It just hasn't happened. It's whenever you go in the lines, it's all white people. There's never black people because they don't know how to get an ID. No black people drive. No, that hoopty thing, it's all a myth. It's an urban legend. There's no hoopties. Driving in my Benzo. Snoop Dogg was lying, dude. He's black. He doesn't have a driver's license. He can't do it. It's impossible. Welfare, all white people. All white people on welfare. No black people at all. Hunting? No, black people don't hunt. How are they supposed to hunt in Fubo and Fila gear? Come on. Have you seen the LL Cool J Kangol that they wear? It's red. Every single deer would see it. God forbid if there's a bull out there and get charged. No, black people don't hunt. They can't get a license. They don't fish either. Ridiculous. Yeah, so black people, they don't do anything. They don't smoke cools. That's a lie. Colt 45? No, these are all racial stereotypes. Black people can't get IDs, folks. So therefore, they don't do anything that requires an ID. It's fantastic. It's the way it works. Who knew? Who knew that voting and ID was so racist? I didn't know. He says election integrity is essential to our democracy, said Abbott. Meh. I'm so tired of this. We're not a democracy. We get it, okay? I know it's just cliche. It's so contrived. We know. It's a republic. Yeah. We know. Okay, can we just say the word democracy without people flipping out, because we are a representative democracy. We're talking about voting, and that most assuredly is democratic. Okay, good. So when we're talking about voting, can I say Democrat without you going, you're a rhino, you didn't say republic? Come on. Please. Black people don't buy porn either. No porn. Nope. They don't have an ID. How could they do that? No. They don't collect Social Security. They don't do that. Black people have it hard, folks. The reason why they have it hard is because they don't have IDs. It's really tough. These reforms have led to the removal of over 1 million ineligible people from our voter rolls in the last 3 years, including non-citizens. Oh, wait a second. How did non-citizens get the ability to get registered to vote? I'll tell you how. Is everyone ready? It's really simple. I have a gentleman who lives in El Paso, Texas. Now, this isn't a crazy thing because even though I didn't live in El Paso, I did work in El Paso at the Sila Vista Mall. And I would go in there as a district manager and check on my store. Yes, that is the mall that had the large shooting. There is a lot of lines of delineation to mass shootings and where I've been. Of course, I've lived in a lot of places, so that's not crazy. Yeah, black people don't have bank accounts. That's right. They just keep all their money underneath a mattress with their AK-47s and drugs. That's right. Yeah, black people don't have bank accounts. Keep them up. This is helping me. This is helping. It's EchoWare? Oh. I thought it was Fubo, for us, by us. I was going back in the 80s. Isn't Echo after Fubo? Fubu? It's Fubu, not Fubo. Fubo is the TV channel. Fubu. I'm a white guy. I have an ID. Obviously, I don't know everything. I didn't get to go to school because I didn't have a license to sign up for college classes. You have to have a license. You have to have an identification to go ahead and sign up for college. So, yeah. Anyway, so you're talking about non-citizens. So how they do it is simple. They get social security numbers on the dark web and on the black market. They use those social securities. They take that person's name and they go ahead and or they make up they take that person's name and then ultimately they get the ability to get an ID. And they can fill out a W-2 I-9 with that information and they can go get a replacement social security card. And this guy's been on my taxes for 17 years. I called the FBI. I called the IRS. I called the Social Security Administration. I reported him to the local police. You know what they said? It's really not that big of a deal. It helps you more than it hurts you. It's going to help your Social Security at the end of you're going to get more, but you don't have to pay those taxes because he's paying them. And if he's not paying them, then those go into default and it gets applied to him and he gets investigated. So he will pay his taxes. You don't have to. But you get all the Social Security benefits. And I'm like, I don't, how is that okay? I don't want that. I want what I put into it. That's what I want. I want to get back. I don't want a freeloader on my social. They don't care. They don't care. So that's how they do it. So 1 million were kicked off. And you know what it is? He's checking the Social Security numbers. And there's people with multiple socials working, and those people are registered. And he had to dump those out of Texas too. So don't tell me illegals can't vote. It's such a bull. People are so full of crap. Listen, it's like saying I couldn't get into a bar when I was 16 years old. I did. Does anyone want to know how I did it? It's real simple. I went to the library. I looked up babies who had died under the age of 5. Which would make me 21. And I went and applied for a license after getting that birth certificate. Walking right into the DMV with that birth certificate, getting a copy of that birth certificate, and saying I'm that person. The records weren't like that. It was all about input. It wasn't downloading with data. And they said it was impossible. You can't get an ID like that. You can't get a fake ID that's not manufactured and printed on the street. No, it's a valid ID right here. My brother had one. He taught me how to do it. I had one. You can't do that anymore because we put things in place. Why? Well, because it's illegal. And so should this. They're here. So let me get this straight. You're telling me illegal immigrants are so star-spangled awesome that we have to feel sorry for every one of them when they cross the border illegally. They break a contract with us. They come in here. They feed off of our Social Security. They work off our jobs. They send the money out of country into Mexico. They go ahead and forge documents. And I feel so bad. They're sanctuary citizens. They need our no. You know what? If you come in here illegally, you should be kicked out of our country. I don't care. For kids, Once you're born in the United States, you are a natural citizen. Can't change that. That's in the Constitution of the United States. We can kick out the parents of the grandma and grandpa. We can stop the chain migration crap. Folks, I wrote an article the other day. If you have not had a chance to read it, and it talks about the election and election interference, go read it. Essentially, it kind of puts everything I've been saying over the last 4 years in a nutshell. But do I believe that this election interference doesn't happen? Never said it doesn't. I said it. Oh, absolutely it does. Did I say that the voter registries are screwed up in every single state? I sure did. I never said it. I said it wasn't stolen. It was conned out from underneath us. Go read the article. It's actually fairly good. So Abbott went ahead and said, you know what? Enough. Illegal voting is not going to be tolerated, and I'm going to do something about it. And of course, they hate him. That's racist. You can't do it. What? What do you mean it's racist? Democrats are so freaking desperate to win, they will do anything. And it's the same thing with Trump. And I'll be honest with you. I have looked at the 2020 election as much as anybody, and I'll tell you, I can't find the smoking gun. There's plenty of nuance and little things. We've had this talk, but there's nothing that just lays it at the door and says this is what happened, except for what I've been trying to tell you, which is the mass balloting. Go read the article. But there's some news today. Zuckerberg came out. And you're gonna laugh, because that's all we can do is laugh. That's all we can do is laugh. Anyway, Abbott, the governor's office, said that approximately 6,500 non-citizens were purged from the rolls. Almost 2,000 of those non-citizens are alleged to have cast votes in past elections. The second most prominent category was deceased people, 457,000. Folks, any hopes of flipping Texas is over with that. It's over with that. And trust me when I say this, that's what they want. Why do you think California has never, ever had an opportunity to go red since Ronald Reagan? It's because of the voter registry. The voter registry has to have millions of votes sitting there that are going to mailboxes, that are getting filled out, that are being harvested and being collected. Come on. How hard is this to figure out? Listen, folks, I understand that everybody's like, oh, no, our system is it's airtight. It's not. Just as easy as it was to go get an ID with a dead baby's birth certificate when I was a kid, it's just as easy to get out there and vote illegally. What do you need? You need a social security number. You need a residence. You need to walk into the DMV and show them your social security number and your birth certificate and register. But wait a second. There are checks against that, right? Sure. So what's the other way that you could possibly cheat? Simple. You check your mailbox and you've got a ballot there. That's it. It's not hard. It's from the previous owner who's dead. You have 600,000 registered dead people in Texas. How many of those got a ballot? Well, the law of probability tells us about 62% of the people are registered, and only about 49 to 50% of the people vote in this country. Some are not of voting age. Some are debilitated and can't. Some are elderly. Some are just crazy. Some have lost the right because they're felons. So out of those 650,000, let's go ahead and say 300,000 have registered to vote. And out of that 300,000, let's just say 150,000 are active registered voters, which is a very low number. Now let's just say 1% of those people fill out ballots. That's 1,500 votes. Is that enough to change an election? Absolutely, considering the last 3 elections have been decided by 90,000. 90,000 votes to 130,000 votes. This vote is going to be the same. 200,000 to 300,000 people are going to decide this election. But if you can swing a state like Texas, if you can swing a state like Georgia, you can swing a state like Florida or Virginia, that changes the outcome of the election. If you're not cheating, why are you so afraid of tightening the belt when it comes to voting? Do you understand that it is harder to open up a bank account than it is to vote? Bank account has a requirement on most bank accounts if you want it to be free. Free checking, free savings, you got to put a little bit of money in. Most banks. You got to start off with something. Register to vote, you don't need any money. You don't need to prove that you're a U.S. citizen other than showing the 2 forms of ID. And other places, all you have to do is go ahead and say your name, go ahead and get a ballot, and you can vote in local elections. You can be an illegal. So maybe you're not getting national votes for a presidential election, but you're damn skippy. It's everything from state legislature to senator all the way down to county clerk and recorder's office. I know what Glenn Youngkin does. That's why Glenn Youngkin needs to be the president of the United States in 2028. I'm letting you know I endorse Glenn Youngkin in 2028. If he runs, that's my guy. And I'm going to be endorsed. I don't care who else is on the ticket. Glenn Youngkin, if he's on the ticket, he's my guy. And I will carry water for him from here to eternity. So now you get a situation where Mark Zuckerberg decides to write a letter. Now, why now? Of all the gin joints, why write a letter now, right before the election? I'll tell you why. Because Mark Zuckerberg is feeling the heat. There was an arrest made in another platform, which I'm not going to mention, considering that we promote Wimkin here and I don't want any conflict of interest for Jason. But I will just say there was another platform where the CEO was arrested and imprisoned. Mark Zuckerberg is worried because Mark Zuckerberg, like YouTube, like Twitter, like Facebook, like Instagram, TikTok, all suppressed information in the 2020 election. They also suppressed information on COVID. They suppressed stories on ivermectin. They suppressed stories on death rates and overall success of vaccine versus normal death rates. I had my entire YouTube channel stripped from me for factual COVID information. I had a label put on every one of my Facebook posts that mentioned the word COVID that fact checked. And everyone knows that I never spoke out against COVID. I never spoke out and said it was fake. I never said the vaccines didn't work. I never said any of those things. I gave you facts. I gave you numbers from Houston Methodist Houston Methodist Hospital, and one of the largest hospitals in the country. They see an ungodly amount of patients a year, 2.75 million people a year. It's like Disneyland. And I went ahead and I told you what the numbers were when the vaccine came out, that 18% of the people who were put in serious condition in the ICU, 18% of them had the vaccine. And 12% of them had the vaccine, which is an incredible number. 88% of success rate for ICU admission. But that's not what we heard. We heard that you had a 100% guaranteed chance to go into the ICU if you got COVID and didn't have the vaccine. That's what they said. The only people who are in the ICU are people who didn't get the vaccine. So what you're saying is, if you don't get the vaccine, you're going in the ICU. Well, that's not true. I got COVID. I didn't go in the ICU. I'm in damn good shape. I kicked that thing like a soccer ball. But the interesting thing is 12% people who had the vaccine were in that hospital, went into the ICU, which was, remember what they said, it was 98% effective that you wouldn't go in the ICU? Well, that number is 10% off. So I give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the sample size wasn't big enough. Oh, it was 375,000 people this was tested on. Oh, that's a pretty big sample size. If you're going to consider that Kamala Harris is winning the race and they base that off what? 500 people, 700 people, 1,000 people, well, then you can take my 350 sample size, 350K, because that is a whistleblower inside the hospital. I got you the email from the CEO emailing all the board and all the supervisors and all of the attendees in the hospital. And I had a whistleblower come to me and tell me. So the big thing was 12% ICU with vaccine. Do you want to know without vaccine? 18%. 18%. That was the numbers coming out of Houston Methodist. A 6% disparity, and they were pushing the vaccine like it was the second coming of Christ. Explain to me why that got me banned from YouTube. I had an affidavit. I had a notarized letter. I had an email string. I had an eyewitness testimony. I had an employee who had an identification card. Everything I said was true. Everything I said was true. And YouTube banned me. So they gave me a strike, right? I got one strike. And then Donald Trump, I showed his show. They gave me strikes, 2 strikes. And they just killed my entire network. 300 some odd videos at that time, just gone, just poof, off of YouTube. Canceled. Facebook, I've got 200,000 followers. I've got 113 people on in the entire network right now, minus Wimkin and Rumble and others. I've got 76 on Facebook. I've got 1,000 followers on YouTube. I've got 22. Do the ratio. I've got Twitter, 5,000 followers. I got 15 watching. Why? I've never supported J6. I never bought into stolen election. I never went ahead and disparaged the vaccine in any way, shape, or form. Yet I've been censored. If anyone doesn't think that this channel is being throttled, you haven't been a fan for more than 5 minutes. Every single person knows. They remember the nights where we would log on, all of a sudden we have 1,700 people on or 700 people on because the algorithm didn't get us. What do you hear more often than not? Man, this show, why isn't it bigger? That's the number one thing on YouTube you hear in the comments. Dude, why isn't this show like nuclear? Sorry. Why isn't this show blown up? Because they throttle it. The only one that doesn't is Wimkin. And you see what happens on Wimkin. We'll get 15,000 views on some videos. Some we get 200 or 300. But still, with 200 or 300, that's still better than Twitter. Twitter's been pretty good lately. But everybody remembers this. So this is what Zuckerberg wrote. August 26, 2024. The Honorable Jim Jordan. Chairman Jordan, I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. As you are aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents as part of your investigation and made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. Further, to our cooperation with your investigation, I welcome the opportunity to share what I've taken away from the process. There's a lot of talk right now around the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platform is for everyone. We're about promoting speech. No, you're not. It's a complete blatant lie. You're not about promoting speech. You're about promoting the speech you approve of. This is why when I post a simple photo of 3 different times of an island in the middle of the ocean, and I don't say anything, I just post the photo, and it says like 1886, 1940, and 2024. That's it. And I get a missing context. It's a photograph. Anything you're implying is on you. I don't talk about climate change. I don't talk about erosion levels. I don't talk about water levels. I don't talk about sea ice melt. I don't talk about water temperatures. I don't talk about CO2 in the atmosphere. None of those things. You applied a context note on my photo because you know that people will make the logical deduction that whatever rise in the water that we have had is negligible over the last 120 years. And it is. Then people go, oh, well, what about the Maldives? The Maldives are underwater anyway. It was a giant vine. It was sea vine. It was a complete turd hole. Yeah, there were some sandy parts and they put some freaking cottages up, but who cares? We have lost landmass since the beginning of time. We were underwater for a long period of time. The ocean bed has pushed up and created the mountains. We have had magma displacement that has created the mountains. We know that because the seabed is up in the Rockies. And it's not that it was all covered by water at one point. Do you really believe there was a mile vertical in Denver and then add another 6,000 feet because you go over C70 and you go over Silverthorne, and then when you go down into Leadville, you're sitting at like 8,000, 9,000 feet, mile and a half up, and there's seashells embedded into the rock. So what's more probable, that all of it was underwater at one point, or lava pushed up, sediment, fossils were created, you had cooling coming through and magma pushing up, so the original seabed was pushed up, cooled from the water, and ultimately created the mountains that we've had over millennia. It's pretty safe to assume that the Earth wasn't a giant water ball at one point. Because it's not that hard to fathom and understand. Now, was there a hell of a lot more water covering the Earth at one point than there is now? Yes, but there wasn't the size of these land masses. We know this with continental shift. We can piece the pieces of the land masses back together and see how there was major separation. To see how there was one giant, more than likely, magma displacement that created the landmass that we have on this Earth, and over continental drift and continental shift and the pole shifting and ice and hot and ice and hot and cool and hot and all that type of stuff, you get cracks in the rock, you get new riverways, you get new separation, you get Grand Canyon style cutting over a millennia, and you get what you get. Ocean overtaking rivers, separation of landmass, and there it is. Because if you go under that water, it has an ocean floor. This isn't difficult to understand. But to sit here and say that photo, those three photos, somehow are missing context, no, you have to apply the context. So what did I do? I challenged Reuters. You know what Reuters said? You know what? We're going to take off missing context. And we're just going to go ahead and say that it's more information is needed. More information is needed for what? Thank you, Stumpy. Folks, whatever we can do to help. 3,014. We are 485 away. I sure would love to hit it. So to sit here and fact check my post is just an example, and this is one of thousands of things. I can give you a litany. I hope at some point Senate, state legislature call me, because I can show you 116 submissions to get my stars turned on. Why don't I have stars? I've never had stars. I have accounts. The DUM News has stars. The DUM News now has 5,200 followers, and I have stars. I had stars at 50 people. I've got 200,000 followers. 5,000 people will interact with this show tonight. By the time that this show hits a week, it'll be 30,000. Why don't I have stars? Why can't people give to me? Why don't they no longer show on live? Ads are not placed on my live show. Why? Why can't I get Instagram? How come I get an award for being a top creator in Reels, but they don't pay me anything for my Reels? Folks, I'm not kidding. I was making $15,000 a month on Facebook, and for 3.5 years, I asked for nothing from you. Nothing. Not one donation. Never. I had a gentleman offer me $10,000 cash. Where do I send it? And I said, dude, give it to a local charity. I don't need it. I'm good. Keep your money. You're going to need it. I have had people offer hundreds. I've had people offer to send me blankets and clothes and cookies and Scentsy gift boxes, and I appreciate all of it. And every single thing that you've sent over the years is in my office right now. You can see it, from Still Point's kick drum to a beautiful rendition of a country style Don't Unfriend Me show in a jar to engravings. I got it all. But never ask for donations until Facebook cut us out from underneath our own feet and deplatformed us financially. Why? What was the reason? There was no reason. There is still no reason why my Reels is shut down. But this is what they do. And they've done it to Damani Felder. They've done it to Ryan Weaver. They have done it to every single person who is in this network who is a conservative. You can look at Our Lives Matter. They did it to them. It happens all the time. See, I don't get ad money from replays ever. I only get live ads while I'm live. I don't get replay ad money. I don't get, like, I haven't made over $1,000 in Facebook in over a year. It's been a year. That's the truth. Thank you, Joanne. And I'm not trying to make this about money, okay? I'm just trying to tell you what they do to shut people up. And what they want to do is they want to keep the squeezes on me until I quit. And I'm not going to quit. And I'm resilient. I have found revenue from other streams. Wimkin is an amazing partner who sponsors our show. That's why I talk about wimkin.com all the time. Go there. 9 million followers. You won't get censored over there. The show will always be on. It's there. It's on there right now. Wimkin.com. At The Dumb Show. Go watch it over there. You won't have to. You can post whatever you want. You can talk about whatever you want. It's so bad there were people using the N-word today, and I'm just like, I just block those people. It's free speech. They don't censor anything. And the reason why, unless it's hate, unless it's like, they're talking about J6 and stuff, and they're going to go plan an insurrection, they don't allow that stuff. But if you're not going to break the law, you can say what you want. And what's even cooler is that the people who were involved in J6 from a conversation standpoint or talking to a friend or loved one, Jason did not reveal and disclose any of his user list to the FBI. And they asked, and that's why they hate him so much. He refused to give any information on his users, and that's impressive. So if you want something better than Facebook, that's it. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, included the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months. 2021. They're not saying anything about Donald Trump's administration. Donald Trump was the president of the United States for exactly 18 days in 2021. 18 days. For certain COVID-19 content, including a humor and satire. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I did something funny in regards to COVID. And I did it to lighten the load. And I was slapped for it. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take content. We own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes. So why am I still in purgatory when I got strikes from Facebook about COVID? Why aren't stars turned on? Why don't I have my Instagram reels? Why isn't YouTube reinstated my account? Why is TikTok not reinstated my account? Am I really that controversial? Out of all the shows you watch, how controversial am I? How many times do I lie up here and make up conspiracy theory and not use factual data that we can prove? Exculpatory evidence. Please, somebody tell me how many times I have sat up here and I've just BS'd you and none of it's been true. Please tell me how many times since you've been watching. I'm going to wait for it in chat because I want to see it. Be honest. How many times have I sat up here and blatantly lied to you? Lied to the American public? Lied to my viewers? I would like to know. I'm going to wait because I think it's important to hear. Because if anyone's going to tell me, you guys will. Mel says 0. Mel gives a lot of money and a lot of effort to this show. She puts her time into this show. She loves this show, just like all the mods and just like all the viewers. She's biased. It has to be biased. It has to be. She's just in the back. Oh, wait. Tina Savage, 10 million. Okay, you're fired. Melanie says, that's the problem, Matt. You put facts they don't like. Of course. There's only one fact, and that's the ones that are true. Suzanne says none. Diane says 0. Thomas says, I can't remember. Speaking of Make-A-Wish, is Sandra Casey there? Never heard you lie. Tina Savage. Okay, so maybe there's a little confirmation bias here. Maybe this is what I'm looking for. But I know for a fact that I have never knowingly lied to you. I have never sold you something, a bag of lies that wasn't true. Amy says once, saying a pie has to have 2 crusts to be a lie. No, it has to have a top crust. Pie has to have a top crust. We've done this. Everything else is a quiche. Pumpkin pie is quiche. Key lime pie is quiche. Lemon meringue is quiche. Top crust, apple pie, cherry pie, blueberry pie, rhubarb pie, triple medley berry pie, peach pie. Top crust. You can even do a lattice crust. It's got to have a top crust. Otherwise, it's quiche. Just saying. It's not a lie. You just don't like the truth. Like I said to our teams at the time, I felt strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration. We're ready to push back if something like this happens again. It's too late. It's too late. It doesn't matter. The election's over. So now you're going to be truthful. Okay, then why aren't you going after people and banning people who are talking about the Trump assassination being fake? Please tell me. Pecan pie, it's quiche. It's topped with pecans. It's not, it's kind of a crust. If you don't just put a couple pecans, if you cover it with pecans, that's good enough for me for a crust. What about a pecan top crust? That's what I just said. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a pie. Pecan pie. Yep, I'll do pecan pie. But lemon meringue, it's not. That's a mousse with meringue. Sorry, it's not a pie. Banana cream pie and coconut cream pie, no top crust. That's right. It's not a pie. It's a quiche. It's a tart. Everyone knows I'm right. They just refuse. They refuse. No, I will not admit it. Yes, you will. Then what's a tart? A tart's a crust on the bottom with some filling. Oh, so pie and tart mean size? No, that's not what it means. Sorry. I already won. Tell me what's the difference between a pie and a quiche. Pumpkin, what's the difference between a tart and pumpkin pie? Tell me. What is the difference between a tart and a pumpkin pie? Nothing. Size. So pie means bigger? What does pie mean? Pie means a cut proportion of a circumference. What is tart? Well, tart means a sour taste, right? What's the second definition of tart? Go look it up. I'm not wrong. Of course, you can't tell me that tart's not pie. Is tart pie? No, it's a tart. Okay, then pumpkin pie is a tart. Just a big tart. It's a big shart. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family in Burisma in the lead up to 2020. That fall. Now, this is also, you had 49. 49. Was it 51? How many? 51, 49. A shite ton of intel officials write letters that the Hunter Biden story was completely fake. They lied. They blatantly lied to you. If that's not election interference, what is? PI means 3.14, but PIE. Okay, let's focus. Really? Pies are usually sweet while quiches are savory? Really? Have you ever had a sweet meat pie? You ever been to England? Ireland? I've had a sweet meat pie. Sweet meat. It's savory and sweet. I've had a sweet meat pie. Yeah, I sure have. So have you. So is that a pie? You stuff meat into a pocket, is that a pie? You do this all day. All day long. Don't let me do this to you guys again. Please don't let me do this to you. You are being trolled again. Last time it went for an hour, and we had hundreds of people getting just absolutely pissed off. Those are not made from meat. Meat pies are not made from meat. They certainly are. They absolutely are. 100% they are. Sweet meat pies are not made from dry fruits. I don't even know who you're all talking to at this point. Can we stop? All right. Can we sue them for election interference? No, because here's why. Because they're protected from on high. They are considered publishers. They are considered publishers. And therefore, as publishers, they have certain rights and protections that make them impervious to lawsuits and to be legally held accountable. Minced meat pie? Sure, sweet pie. Yeah, sweet meat pie, mince pie. But if I say minced meat pie, people are like, I don't understand what you're talking about. No, man, you can go into Ireland, you can go into Scotland, you can go into England, and where in the middle of the alleyways, you will have a pocket full of minced meat and sweet meat. And it's extremely sweet. It's got like a sugary caramel flavor, and it's meat inside. You can use ground beef, you can use strips of shredded beef, but it's got a very sweet taste to it. It's like a teriyaki taste to it almost, but not quite as tangy. Come on. What about beef pot pie? So that's a pie? No, it's a pot pie. Oh, okay. Can you just openly admit that the English language is stupid? And things, it's an amalgamation of many different languages, and it doesn't always work. And pie is one of those things where we need like 5 or 6 more things besides, pie and quiche and cake. Let's expand the vocabulary, okay? Maybe we call it no roof pie. I don't know. Pie should have crust. I'm just saying. That fall, when we saw the New York Post report, not just New York Post, you guys hit 3 other newspapers, and you hit every single page. Pizza pie. See? Pizza's called a pie. So every single Facebook page that talked about the Hunter Biden laptop, we were all shut down. When we put up the Hunter Biden laptop photos that were censored, they shut us down. They took it down. We got strikes for it. Whenever you even put him in his diaper and his red scarf smoking a crack pipe, you got banned. There's no nudity there. They have women with half freaking, doing the splits and shit where you can see their tonsils in a leotard. But you put Hunter Biden in a diaper and a red scarf, and no, that's too much. Streusel, right. There's another, see? Danish. Streusel. Isn't that a pocket? Isn't a Danish a pocket? Well, what happens when you have a Danish with a little circle with fruit in the top? That's a Danish. Why isn't that a pie? See? There's not enough. You need more. More names. You need to distinguish things. You need a KP Kafka's, like the animal phylum, class, order, species for the animal kingdom. You need it for the pastry and savory treats kingdom. We need more names. Pita Pockets, right? Pita Pockets. Pita Pockets has an opening, though. I eat pitas. What about gyros? Gyros, isn't that just a pita? Just saying, folks. This is important, hard-hitting news that you only get here. It comes down to this. Mark Zuckerberg is saving his ass. He hasn't had a moment of clarity. He doesn't have a guilty conscience that's just getting to him. He knows Trump's going to win. He's putting his money, he's hedging his bets on Trump. So he's kissing their ass. He's kissing their ass. He is simply just going ahead and kissing the Trump administration's butt. Why? Because Facebook is bleeding. Facebook is dead. Advertisers don't go there anymore. The cost to advertise on there is ridiculous. The CPM used to be for like 1,000 impressions, 12 cents, 9 cents. It's up to like 75 cents now. It's ridiculous. The advertising on Facebook is not what it once was because Apple put the kibosh on it. If you sign up through your Apple device, you have to pay Apple like a 30% price hike through that advertising. So you have to go to a desktop. It's inconvenient. Zuckerberg he's not going to be there much longer. Zuckerberg is going to sell it off. The AI and the virtual reality segment of Facebook is the future of anything at all. That's why they went into Meta. They want to expand into gaming and take over that market like Twitch, but they can't. They're a man without a country. They are MySpace. They haven't innovated, and instead they've subjected a vacuum to their listeners. They have created a left and a right. And whenever you actually dip a toe into the right or left, you get lambasted. Have you ever accidentally like went on Occupy Democrats and just got destroyed and not look where you posted? And within 5 minutes, there's like 75 comments calling you a Trump tard and a Nazi and, a xenophobic, homophobic, racist, transphobic. Amber says she's never tried a gyro. Amber, what the hell is wrong with you? Go fix that now. And don't go to some stupid like deli. You go to a real Greek restaurant, white and blue lettering in old Olympian style font, Greek font. And it's got to be called something like Pita Callias or something. Or, Yanni or something. You got to go there. Euripides, Socrates, gyros. Galakanakis gyros. That's a fantastic Greek restaurant. If you're in Houston, downtown Houston, go to downtown Houston and go to Mama Liv, Hayden, Ethan, somebody. What was the name of the Mama, the Greek place we used to go to down in Houston? It's so good. It's not Mama Tia's, is it? Mama
Yaya Jenny's?
Yaya
Mary's?
Yaya Mia Yaya.
Ethan.
Hold on.
Hayden.
Yaya is grandma in Greek.
Remember that?
You just tell him quick. Got a show. Hurry up. Come on. Spit it out. Okay.
No, I didn't hear what you said. The restaurant.
Dude, the restaurant in Houston, Yaya, whatever, the Greek place we went. Yaya what was the name? It wasn't Yaya. I don't think it was Yaya Mary's. Houston.
I'm going to go shower right now. So
Okay.
I'll make donations.
Houston. We just had one. Did you put it in?
Yeah.
I don't think so. 51?
Yep.
All right. Yaya Mary's. You're right. Yaya Mary's. If you haven't been down there, that's good. That's great food. Oh, so good. Dude, the baklava is fantastic. The lemon chicken is just delightful. The gyros are, so good. Go, if you haven't had a gyro, go eat a gyro. And you've got to get tzatziki sauce. You got to do it right. You got to get the cucumber, tomato, tzatziki, diced onion. Load that thing up. The pita has to be not crunchy, but not soft, because then it falls apart. It's got to have a little crust. A little bit, so it's a pie, right? It's not a pie. It's a pie. Whatever. We're coming full circle. Happy birthday to Sandra Casey. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sandra. Happy birthday to you. There you go. We'll say you never got anything. It's gyro. It's not a gyro. You've never been to Greece. You're wrong. It's gyro. It's not gyro. Gyro.
You start with a y sound, ye, and then a high e, ye, as if you're about to say the word year, ye. And then the next syllable is ro, an R sound, then the O as in go. So round your lips for the R, drop your jaw for the O, drop the tongue too, ro, and then close it again for the W, ro, ye, ro.
Thank you very much. You're fired. Don't ever tell a Greek how to pronounce a Greek word, okay? Just saying, it's gyro. Thank you. It's not gyro. It's not gyro. It's not hero. It's gyro, okay? Gyro. Got a lot of German in me. Got a lot of Dutch, Welsh, Irish, Scottish, Norwegian, French. But I got a ton of Greek. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of Greek. Yeah, from the Callias family. My Yaya and Papu. Greek. Yeah, a lot of it. It's gyro. It's not gyro. It's gyro. Whatever. You're American. You're from Texas. Hey, man, I want to get myself a gyro. Hey, go get me a gyro and a beer. Bitch, you better go get me a gyro. Gyro. Give me a break. Euro. Euro. Row. Like Roe v. Wade? Euro. It's a euro. Okay? Good. Let's get into some other content. Mark Zuckerberg. He wants the stock on Facebook. He's getting beat up. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And he knows damn well that he's going to be held to account. If they try to pull the crap that they did in 2024, forget about it. Jesse Waters. What? Someone making fun? Someone going after me for tzatziki sauce? We want to do this one too? You who's coming at me? Hey Matt, spell yaziki sauce? Well, that's not how you spell it. I'll tell you that much. Why am I? First of all, do you want me to pronounce it right or say it right? I would like to show Jesse Waters here, to be honest. Well, is it pronouncing tzatziki sauce, or is it the spelling? Is it like Worcestershire or Worcestershire? It's like Zat with a T. T-Z-A-T. And then Ziki. Z-I-K-I. Tzatziki sauce. There it goes. T-Zat Ziki. That's how you spell tzatziki sauce. Okay? All right, good. Now, are we done? Okay. Jesse Waters. Listen, Jesse Waters he says things. I just spelled it. T-Zat, T-Z-A-T, Z-I-K-I, tzatziki sauce. Wash your sister sauce. That's pretty close. It's not Worcestershire. It's not Worcestershire. It's wash your sister sauce. It's pretty close. It's pretty close to that. We all say it wrong. Okay, can we stop? You guys are making me hungry. All right, I've already had dinner. All right. Jesse Waters, he says some things like Jessica, when she was pregnant, he asked to touch her belly. You may have gotten away with that in 1950, 60, 70, 80, 90, but now, especially her, but she handled it really well. I understand people don't like Jessica Turloff or whatever her name is. I think she's fine. I have no problem with her. She's a lib. She's a complete lib. That's what she's there for. She's there to give you a perspective that you don't like. So you don't have to not like her. I like her. I really do. I have no problem with Jessica. She's better than Juan Williams and Geraldo frickin' Rivera. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't kick her out of bed either. She had a baby, you know that? Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Like, she didn't gain anything, and then she had it, and she had to spit that thing out. And she didn't abort it, which also is a plus, because she is a liberal. So we got to give her credit. Okay, now, Jesse Waters said some things that were, let's just play it and then we'll talk about it, okay? So if you haven't heard it, here it is. This is from yesterday. He apologized. He didn't apologize. He clarified. He did not apologize, and he shouldn't have to. But listen,
you were like speaking on behalf of the Waters. That would be great. Like your sister does something, and you're like speaking on behalf of the Waters. I'm sure my mother was probably go on MSNBC tonight and said, my son, Jesse Waters, made a joke about Kamala Harris being manhandled by generals in the Situation Room, and he has desecrated the memory of our grandfather, and it's disgusting. I could see my mom doing that, and I wish I had a political dynasty so I could take shots as well.
We appreciate that. All right, you know what, Greg?
That would be great. Like your sister does something, and you're like speaking on behalf of the Waters. I'm sure.
So that was a comment tonight. That was on at 5, on the 5. And I want to hear the original. It looks like it's not everywhere. It was yesterday. I I can't remember exactly what he said. She's going to get, he meant manhandled, but it was, she's going to go into a room full of generals and get, who can help me? What was the word? What was the word? It wasn't worked over, because that would have been better. Basically, like she was going to get nailed. Like it sounded like he was saying that she's going to get, screwed. I'm trying to find it. Let me find it. Someone help me out. Come on, I just heard this damn thing. Here it is.
This is most impact. You have a lot of room to maneuver.
Here it is.
This is most impact. You have a lot of room to maneuver there as commander in chief. We don't know who.
Have their way with her, I think is what they said. And listen, have their way with her, it means having sex. But it can also mean they're going to get whatever they want out of her. I know what he meant. Listen, folks, here's the deal. Let me play it, and then I'll tell you what I think.
She is. We don't know what she believes. She's going to get paralyzed in the Situation Room while the generals have their way with her. Right now,
Jesse,
Whoa, Jesse, I don't like that.
figuratively,
Take
again.
it back.
Okay. So, first of all, paralyzed means frozen, means unable to respond. So, obviously, he's not talking about sex. They're not going to rape her. She's not going to run a chain in the situation. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. The rumor, but no, he wasn't. Jesse says a lot of shit, but he didn't mean it like that. I promise you he didn't mean it like that. They are going to have their way with her. They had their way with Hillary Clinton too, because I'm sorry, no matter what you think, and women, I love you. You're my favorite people on the planet. I love the judge because she's like, take it back. It's funny. I want to say this. Generals don't want women in the military. Like Miley and a couple of others do, but they're political. Most generals don't want women in the military. Because situations like tailhook do happen. Because when you take a bunch of testosterone-laden males and you tell them to go kill, and they can't kill, they're going to take that overall exuberance to do a job that they cannot do out on something else. And there's people who can't handle it. And you don't find that out until you get into a wartime situation, or you don't find that out until you get overseas, or you don't find that out until you're running at 175 feet down with, hundreds of thousands of tons of water ready to be placed on your cavity of your sub and crush you in like a styrofoam cup. You don't notice when people freak out. I saw a guy in a sub. I was 3 days on a sub. And this guy was first time, picked him up in an undisclosed location, got him in the sub and literally got to overall driving speed, not horribly deep. And you would hear some hole popping and, rudders would kick on. So you get some vibration, cavitation happening. And this guy literally like peeled his teeth off, just went off, like bouncing off the walls like Lucy balls. Had to be held down and tranquilized. Flipped out so hard. And I hate subs. Like, I can't stand confined spaces. Like, that's why I can't stand to be burned in fire, but I want to be cremated. But when you put people in situations that they're trained to do, you're not going to know how they're going to react until they're actually in that. Until it's live fire, until, you're downrange, you don't know what's going to happen. Some people are like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go. Some of the hardest chargers. Dude, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get in a conflict. Ready, punch the clock. Let's go. And those people were like, dude, ammo. Ammo. Brother, return fire. Get your ass up. Return fire. Do your job. Dude, why are you hiding? You got incoming artillery rounds. If it's going to hit you, you're already dead. You may as well return fire. You don't know. You don't know what people are going to do. I've heard stories of guys wanting to take out officers. I know they did in Vietnam. I know they plugged LTs in junior grades who were out in Vietnam and just plugged them in the middle of the field. I know that for a fact. I've talked to Vietnam veterans who've told me that. They have friendly fragged their own officers because they were cowards or they didn't do their job or they were going to get them killed. So my point is simply, there are generals who don't want them in the military. So when Jesse Waters says they're going to have their way with her, what it means is that she's not going to get a voice. She is going to be one of those presidents like Joe Biden that does whatever the Joint Chiefs tell her. Elaine says, when you're dead, you won't know you're burning. You don't know what happens when you die. That's what I'm afraid of. Like, the human mind can be alive for like 5 to 25 minutes after you die. And they say that when you die, you actually know you died. That's weird, right? That's just weird. But I don't want to talk about this. Okay. So my point is generals, they don't want transgenders in the military. They don't want women in the military. They don't want people who can't do the job in the military. They don't want an all-black military, all-white military, Chicano, Latino, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Samoan, Japanese, Korean. They want the best people to do the job who can do the AOR responsibility and the MOS/rate that they've been selected and trained for. Other than that, they don't care. They don't want diversity hires. Generals don't care. There's soft generals, there's hard generals, but it all comes down to this. They all believe the same thing. So when Jesse Waters says that when she walks into that situation room, that the Joint Chiefs are going to have their way with her, they are. She is not going to be able to command those generals. She does not have it in her. Okay? And Joe Biden doesn't have it in him. Joe Biden defied every single piece of intelligence gathering data that he had provided by the Joint Chiefs and it made it omniscient. Just completely disregarded it when it came to Afghanistan. Was told ahead of time by every single person in the Joint Chiefs, briefed every single time that the Taliban were going to go ahead and take over Afghan regulars. They had been seeing it for a year in northern Afghanistan, for them going over to Turkestan and exfilling every time they had open conflict with Taliban, laying down their arms and abandoning stations. You knew it with Bagram when you pulled out that Kabul airport was going to be a nesting ground for terrorism. You knew all of this. Why? Because everyone who has been in country in Afghanistan knows that Kabul is like the number one target for terrorist attacks. That airport got hit more often than Ike Turner hit Tina Turner. Okay? Give me a break. Your brain lives a full 8 minutes after all other organs cease function. I don't want to do it. That's gross. That's horrible. I only hope I'm having sex and Olivia doesn't notice. That would be cool. So my point is Jesse Waters didn't say anything that wasn't true. Yes, should have used a different, that they're going to manhandle her, that they're verbally going to go ahead and coddle or muzzle her, that they're going to put her in a corner, that they're going to overall silence her with embarrassment. Sure, there's a lot of other things you could say. I get his point. They're going to have their way with her. Whatever the Joint Chiefs want, they're going to get. And she's just going to go up there and go, okay, whatever you say. Because that woman has zero experience in a military situation. She has no respect. Donald Trump at least had some respect from generals, certain generals, because of his command authority. But they didn't even listen to him. They listened to him one time and a team and 6 SEALs got killed. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it was probably one of the biggest mistakes of Donald Trump's career as far as military deployment. And he said he would never make that mistake again, and he didn't. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look in the first 3 months of his term. And a team got killed. Not a full team, but 6 guys from the team got killed. I can't remember which. It's not that I'm being insensitive. I just can't remember exactly what and how it happened. But you can look it up. So you're not going to get that from the Joint Chiefs. So when he says that, he's not meaning sexual. Yeah, the Joint Chiefs are all going to run a chain on Kamala Harris. Give me a break. Nobody means that. Nobody, really? Kamala Harris slept her way to the top. Kamala Harris had an affair with Willie Brown, okay? There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. And did it help advance her career? Sure. But you know what? The woman has experience. It's not what I consider good experience. Her policies are horrible. She actually is not, in my opinion, qualified to truly run the country because of her performance thus far. And it's been horrible. Nobody can tell you why they like Kamala. Tell me what, she's full of joy. She's happy. She's going to bring America back. Okay, that's great if she's a Betty Crocker freaking muffin maker. What is she going to do to stop Putin in Ukraine? How is she going to negotiate with Israel and Muslims and Arab nations that want to flatten Israel? How is she going to reinstill the confidence in the Abraham Accords? How is she going to stop China from invading Taiwan? How is she going to get military funding for the advancement and innovation that we need to compete with a hypersonic missile game and to ensure we have some sort of Iron Dome here in our most sensitive spots in the United States to intercept anything that could possibly hit the U.S.? How is she going to figure out how to stop the trend of moving towards 50 trillion, which is the cliff, which is the fiscal cliff? It's the real, this whole thing that we're $34 trillion in debt and the fiscal cliff is right around the corner. 50 trillion is the fiscal cliff. 36 doesn't matter. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. And that doesn't matter. 50 trillion is a point of no return. We hit 50 trillion. Every economist on the planet says we'll never recover. You might as well just punch out and go home. The American dollar will essentially just, the world's economy will go, and there'll be a reset. So when we want to talk about a fiscal cliff, it's at 50 trillion. How is she, and the way she wants to spend, giving out home, we already did the math. It was what, $500 billion in this home renovation project over the next 3 years? She wants to go ahead and continue the canceling college debt across the board, cancel all medical debt. Well, listen, some of these things sound great. I agree. Where are you going to cut it? Well, you're going to cut the defense budget. Now you're going to make the United States weaker. Why? Because every effing Democrat does that. That's how they balance the budget, if at all. Bill Clinton didn't balance the budget. He cut $300 billion out of it by making the defense budget anorexic. Joe Biden had a surplus because he just went ahead and had, $2.1 trillion on the books for the next annual for COVID spending, and COVID disappeared. So they said, oh, well, we have a surplus of $2.1 trillion. We didn't spend that money. That money wasn't there to begin with. That's not a surplus. Just because you budget something and had no intention of spending it, that's just falsifying your overall budget. That's like a self-lending practice. You're lending against your current fiscal. That's all you're doing. You're fudging numbers. If I did that with my business, if I did that for any of the companies I work for, I'd be in prison. I would be in prison. You can't put 2.1 trillion in your budget and then go, well, we're not going to spend that. And then say, we've got that money. It's like paying off your credit card and saying, oh, well, I've got $50,000 now. No, you don't. You've got a credit card with a 21% APR that you're going to have to pay bloodletting money and sell your children into slavery to pay off. Folks, this isn't hard. Kamala Harris doesn't know what she's doing. She has no policy. You know what Kamala Harris has? She's not Trump. That's it. She's not Trump. And America is not that stupid. America's dumb, but America's not that dumb. America knows that it ain't good right now. They keep saying it's good. And this is what's going to kill the Democrats. If the Democrats just came out and said, listen, Donald Trump had an amazing 3 years in his first 4, and then COVID hit and he failed. On the same token, Joe Biden failed for 2 years. A lot of deaths, a lot of money was spent, and it was a tough ride for both presidents. Let's go ahead and compare the first 3 years of Trump and the last 2 years of Biden and see that he doesn't eclipse Biden in a lot of ways, but there's an upward trajectory of growth in Joe Biden. The next president is going to have okay, you might be able to, even though $8,000 more a month is our year going out of our bank accounts, even though gas prices, chicken prices, egg prices, bread, milk, nails, wood, paint, everything is higher. Overall inflation is actually 25% over the last 2.5 years. Just because we had inflation that was sub 2 does not mean that that inflation that was there went away. Those prices haven't come down. But if you think that, you might be able to sell. And you could say, look at the stock market. We're going to go ahead and get energy independence here. We're going to do it because we are following those policies of drilling. We are embracing it. We are stop investing money in foreign oil. A lot of those things that we canceled when we first started, we're alleviating. The border, we made some mistakes. We're implementing policy now that's going to make that happen. Taxes on tips, pharmaceutical re-envisioning of pricing, working with insurance companies to go ahead and do tri-state insurance, whatever, maybe, but that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is, this is Donald Trump's fault. And instead of talking about the problems today that are truly impacting people, they want you to think back 4 years, what it was like under Trump, when these folks can't even survive right now under Joe Biden. Kamala Harris has to get on that debate stage and somehow get people to forget what's happened over the last 4 years and remember what Donald Trump did 4 years ago. Good luck. She's going to need a couple Venn diagrams for that. If you think Kamala Harris is going to litigate and prosecute the case against Donald Trump, that somehow he is responsible for where we are at in the state of the world and the economy, she is going to have to read The Art of the Deal a few times. So Jesse Waters, he says millions of words a year that are scripted and written for him, and also that he writes down in a monologue. He's on talk shows. He's on radio shows. He does The Five. He has Waters World. He millions of words a year. I do hundreds of thousands of words a year. Between the live show and the recorded show and writing, I do a lot. And I have guaranteed said some things that if it went national, people would be like, whoa, dude. Whoa, dude. How can you say, you know what? And I'm going to say this. I don't know. I was in a mood. I said something stupid. Who cares? Move on. How does that impact your life? Dude, you said something about a black transgender. Are you black and transgender? No, then shut the fuck up. Who cares? There are trillions of words spoken an hour in this world. None of it matters. None of it matters. Words, you only allow words to hurt you if you are incapable of compartmentalizing and processing what someone else does. Why do you give people power? So yes, Jesse Waters said something stupid. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Unless Kamala is going to go run a train in the Situation Room and we're going to see it, who cares? Who's calling? Is that Mel?
Yep.
What do you want?
Well, I just want to comment. Is that okay?
Sure it is. What's up?
Okay. No, all the military people that listened to the Five and whatever knew exactly what Jesse said.
Right.
And yeah, I kind of like when Judge Janine, I'm like, no, you don't understand. What he said was totally right. They're going to eat her lunch. Yeah. They've been eating their lunch, Biden Harris, for almost 4 years now.
Right.
And she's going to go in there, and the Mark Millies and the whatevers are going to go, oh, look, we got another whatever. And they're just going to run right over her. And she thinks the light that she's seeing at the end of the tunnel, it's the train, and it's going to fucking run over her. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
they're going to hammer her.
She has no idea what's in store.
Zero. And for her comment after the Afghan whatever going, and so proud. Yes, I was the last one in the room when Biden made the decision for the debacle in Afghanistan withdrawal. And I'm like, and you're proud of that? Like, how stupid are you? Like literally, like, she may be like book smart or something smart, whatever, but world smart, she hasn't got a schmick. They're all going to run over. Every country in the world is going to run over her and that other gay guy with the tampons running beside her. I'm like,
Tampon
seriously,
Tim.
dudes, like
Tampon Tim.
yeah.
By the way, Joanne, I don't know if I got to say thank you. It might have come up on the screen, but Joanne Thomas giving $51.99. We really appreciate it. Folks, thedumbshow.com. Get hats, t-shirts, everything else. 15% off is going on for another 34 minutes. So if you want to get it, go ahead. We're going to add the books to the site. Make sure we get that. We know some people wanted some ball caps and stuff for the Red Friday. We're working on that. If you have not had a chance, please go to linktapgo.com/thedumbshow. And if you can donate and help out the show, we appreciate it. Mel, this is a good question. I mean, it's the middle part of the hour, and we always talk about the donations at this time. So we'll take a minute. Why do you give to the show? Because you have helped out the show immensely, and we love when you call in, but you also help out as a moderator, but you also donate. And whether this makes you uncomfortable or not, I really don't care.
Well, geez, thanks for that.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
I donate to the show because, as I've said in my PM messages to you and Olivia, whatever, I believe in what you do because it's no bullshit. Like it's like my other favorite that I listen to when I have to drive into work, Andrew Wilkow. Like, you can't break the story. Like, it's all facts. It's all like, there's no, you can't break it. Like, and truth matters. And that to me, like, well, because ex-military, blah, whatever, truth, I hate liars. Like, that was always my one thing to my troops was I don't care what kind of shit, whatever you got into me, don't lie to me. Tell me what you did, and then we'll work from it for there. Don't lie. And I hate lies. I hate it with a passion. So when I fell into the show a number of years ago, and it's been quite some time now,
it has.
I went and I listened for a long time, like whatever. And I fact checked you on the backside, like whatever. And I'm like, because I live in Canada, and I know a lot of American, like, they don't know or understand. So there's a lot, to me, what I call BS, because they don't know a lot of history and stuff and whatever. So I listened to you for quite some time or whatever before I engaged whatever. And I went, no, you're spot on. And then when I found out that we had a little bit of history in a few ports that we had both visited at the same time during times, whatever. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, rule of six, you will find somebody that you know within 6 people. And I went, okay, so your credibility is only growing with me, whatever. Like, I don't, like I said in my comment, I said, I don't back people or throw money away, whatever, because I don't have it. I give it because I believe in your message needs to get out, and you need to stay online, and that's why I do it. Yeah. Even as a Canadian, I'm like, you need to be heard, and you are being heard. It's just, that's why I do it.
It's tough.
I don't.
It's hard.
Do it just
yeah.
You
help
like
out so much.
I gave you my dishwasher a couple of months ago, but I'm like, it's a thing. And well, this month has been a little bit whatever, because I have to get a new roof because mine started leaking just after Christmas, and the water's running all walls, and I'm going to have to do some whatever because there's now mold and stuff on the inside of whatever. So I've been a little bit short of whatever being able to give a little bit.
No. You take care of your roof.
I'm not apologizing or defending or whatever. I'm just saying, and you say it to everybody, if you look after yourself first and look after your whatever. And I gave some whatever to a certain couple of people, whatever, that were down and out, whatever, that I know that not giving it to you at this point. Yes, I know you're still going to hang on, whatever.
Yeah,
These people couldn't. So I'm like, so it's like, and I do that. Like, I manage my money the way I need to, and I give it to when I have it.
Yep.
Totally 1,000%. It's you're my team. Like, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia are like awesome. Like,
well, we appreciate it. We love you, and we always love your intel and your probably as much or more than most people do about American politics, and you're in Canada, so it's good. And I will take you very seriously. I would love to bring yourself and someone else from Canada, one of our viewers who really wants to get on and talk about Canadian politics and what's going on up there, and so I can learn too. I mean, although I do participate in going after Trudeau when I can, it will help. So we should do that. I'm going to play a video, kid. I appreciate you calling in, and thank you.
All right.
And
Yep.
and I hope you're
I'll let
doing
you-
well. Yep. Let me know if you need anything.
You betcha. I love you. Bye.
I love you too. See you, kiddo. All right. So here's a video that I want to watch. I always love that when people call in, they're like, "I love you." And you know what? You just don't get that. You don't get that on other shows. People don't do that. Everybody does that. I don't. Guy, girl, grandma, young person, love you. Doesn't matter. Every single person. And to me, that gives me goosebumps. I got goosebumps right now. You're probably not going to be able to see it. But to me, that's the most important thing. Because there's not enough love in the world, man. And I do love the people who interact with this show. And even though I can, be hard on people sometimes, and I'll come down on them and disagree with them and argue with them, it doesn't mean I don't love them. It doesn't mean I don't care. And I hate the people who don't watch the show. That really bothers me, man. I hate it when people leave over stupid stuff. There's no reason for it. We can disagree. Here is a video that I wanted to talk about. Veterans talking about conspiracy theory that Donald Trump faked his assassination attempt. Okay, give me a break. Give me a break. Listen, the rule of veterans is pretty simple. You don't trash another veteran until they start trashing other veterans. It's kind of a speakeasy kind of thing. You just don't trash people's service. Like Tim Walz, until I caught him lying, I didn't care. Majewski, until I caught him lying, I didn't care. Blumenthal, I didn't care. Once I catch you lying and disparaging other vets through your lies, we got a problem. And this guy's a veteran, and I don't know him. I have no idea. I don't know anything about this guy. If he's a veteran, he's a young vet. He's a young guy. I find it hard to believe he's a vet. Haircut alone, to me, says I don't know. But he might be. Let's listen.
Conspiracy. Hi. I've seen doctors on this app perpetuating conspiracy. I've seen doctors on this app talk about how a bullet entered Trump's ear from behind and created the perfect puncture that would allow for him to appear a day or two later with no visible bruising, no graze wound, and most unbelievable of all, no additional bleeding the day of the injury. I have watched medical professionals who have a legitimate, they have a legitimate enterprise here on TikTok. There's no reason to believe that they're lying about working in a hospital. I've watched medical professionals twist and bend in order to explain how on earth Trump could have been injured in the way that he said he was injured and yet present in the way that he is presented. Interestingly, there's another side of TikTok.
Immediately, the guy's got some credibility with me because he is using factual representation. Now, I don't know what else I feel. Marky Borland ordered something. Ask the Why hoodie. Dude, you're going to love that, Mark. You're going to love that, Mark. You're in Washington? Oh, God, I got to get you out of there. Got to come to Virginia. We were talking about that. We would love to have you guys out here, man. You guys can live with us until you find a place, whatever. God, thanks for buying the hoodie, buddy. Immediate credibility, right? Guy's easy on the eyes. He looks like he should be in The Outsiders. He's very articulate, well-spoken. And so far, I have no problem with what he said because he has said it in a professional manner. He has quoted the truth. There are people out there who do verbal gymnastics to explain what happened with Trump and the round that hit him or the round that didn't. So I'll continue to listen. I will. Here we are.
That, in my experience, isn't gaining a lot of mainstream traction. And that's the side of TikTok that has Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, people from the last 24 years, including myself, who have experience with 5.56 rounds impacting the cartilage of the ear.
Okay, so immediately he's claiming service in the military, so he's older than he looks. I'll tell you, his t-shirt gives it away that he's military because it's white. There's no bacon on the neck, and military guys cannot stand wearing t-shirts that aren't perfectly white. In fact, I will tell you, I probably go through more white t-shirts when I was working at Comcast and working at Apple than anything else. Like, I would probably buy a new 10-pack of Hanes t-shirts every month because I would wear them 2 or 3 times, and I couldn't wear them anymore. I even got the no bacon ones. I just couldn't do it. So it's something you learn in the military. So I should have known by his t-shirt. Perfectly white. That's a good sign. Anyway, so this guy says he has experience with 5.56 into cartilage of the ear. I don't think that's not true. I've witnessed a couple of facial injuries from 5.56, 2.23, 7.62, 3.08, and several other rounds doing analysis, but physically seeing someone hit in the ear, never. Nope. I've seen people get hit in the helmet and what's happened to them. I've seen people hit in the cheekbone and in the jaw, but I've never seen an ear injury. So it's hard for me to believe that. It's not hard for me to believe. It's hard for me to ascertain the validity of his comment based upon an ear injury because the probability of an ear injury is probably a secondary injury due to hitting a retaining wall and pieces of rock or shrapnel or anything but an initial hit, because the law of probability says that if you get hit in the ear and it's not a skim and it goes and it hits the webbing of the ear, that the overall concussive force of that will more than likely kill you. The overall G's and the concussive force that would take place if that round hits has a direct line straight into the ear canal, which would make the brain vulnerable. And this is something to consider. So in no way, shape, or form do I think that him claiming to see an ear injury is rare. No, it is rare. And for what they're saying, a round hitting and skimming the ear without having enough concussive force to create brain injury, without channeling or redirecting by hitting a piece of cartilage and then ultimately catching the inner part of the ear and just blowing off the side of his head or the side of his face is a rarity for sure. You could probably make 1,000 headshots and never replicate the result that happened with Donald Trump. Okay? But I also want you to understand that you could have 1,000 shots of people trying to make that shot and would have a difficult time making that shot. Okay? All right. Ian Arizona says the bullet was going about the sound barrier as it passed his ear and minor broke his eardrum. that thing was going way faster than the sound barrier. If that was a 5.56, that thing's moving 2,100 to 2,200 miles an hour at that range. 150 yards, yeah, it's moving 2096 plus. I can't do the math, but that thing is not going sound barrier. It's going well above the sound barrier. Yeah, that thing's moving extremely fast, 2,000 plus. So I don't know what we're saying here. Help me understand, Ian. Okay. Thanks, buddy.
Ear is an incredibly vascular thing. When it gets nicked or cut or punctured or receives a lot of trauma.
Sorry. Shirley says, Matt, is it possible the round hit the teleprompter or something before hitting the ear? Yes, but it wasn't. Both teleprompters were standing. Both glass were intact. There was no dais. There was no ballistic shield. Is it possible that it refracted off of a pole behind him? The chances of that happening are even more unrealistic, that the bullet missed him, got so close to him that he could hear it and feel it and resonates with him that that he's being shot at, and then hit something and refracted. Because if it did, the angle of that would have to be incredible, because if the bullet lands behind him, it's got to hit something and then it's got to fly. And I don't know. Theoretical physics could figure this out. I'm not a physicist. I have no idea. But theoretical physics can also tell you that you can tie an elephant's tail to a daisy hanging off of a cliff and it will ultimately not rip the roots and fall. Theoretical physics are just that, theory. Let's listen.
It bleeds a lot. Something I would love for you to consider is, on the day of this alleged injury, do you notice that there is no more bleeding? Once Trump stands up, there is no additional blood.
That is not true. I have seen that photograph multiple times. In fact, I just posted it. I think I might have it here. That thing is blood red. It is all over his face. It's running down in multiple spots. Hold on. Yeah, I just posted this today. I'm going to blow it up for us so we can really see it. Sorry, I'm having problems here. Oh, you got an extra window here? What the frack? Get out of there. Okay. I don't know why this is giving me so many fits. Okay, there we go. Now I got to do the bottom and then we're done. And we will blow this up like crazy. Okay. You got blood down his lips. You got blood down his cheek. You got blood down his neck. You have an ear which looks like the top portion is falling forward, still attached, completely bleeding down his shirt and down his arm and his hands. I'm looking right at it, man. I'm looking right at it. You know what that looks like? It looks like a gunshot wound. It looks like a graze. Now, I'm not going to do mental gymnastics over this, verbal gymnastics. I'm going to tell you that if this guy's seen as many gunshot wounds as he says, and GSWs are a common occurrence in his life, you will also know that you have seen gunshot wounds that fail to bleed, that will not bleed for minutes after entry. There are gunshot wounds where people get shot and they don't even know they've been shot because of adrenaline. We don't know if there were any capillaries in that area or any vessels in that area. We don't know whether when it went through, it initially bled. and they put pressure on it. We don't know if it didn't bleed because there were no major, vessels hit or certain parts of the channeling where blood flows in through the ear. He hit it. Cartilage is extremely dense. We know this. We know there's a very thin layer, and if you cut your face or cut your nose or right around this area or your lip, it bleeds profusely. The ear is 10 times worse. We don't know. But somebody who says they've seen that many gunshot wounds would understand that there are crazier things that happen. There is a lot of blood there. And if you remember, the first time he went down, he covered and held his ear. Let's listen to the rest.
All of the blood is static. And there's no additional.
Also, I'm going to let you know that we have material in the military to help blood coagulate and to essentially pack wounds, and can put mixtures on to help that blood create a false skin so it can continue to stay inside of a body. You can pack it with gauze. You can actually even have which essentially is a liquid bandage, is like a super glue. Hurts like a mother, but if his ear is bandaged properly and it tore or it's ripped, plastic surgeon can reattach that very easily because it's cartilage, and then it's like a scab. The skin just has to heal. We don't know whether it was behind, the damage was behind. We don't know if it was in front. We weren't there. Why does it matter? Because people are questioning it. That's why it matters. And I'm going to listen to people who question things because I want to learn, right?
Bleeding. We know they didn't use quick clot. We know they didn't use compression because the ear was visible for an enormous amount of time.
No, it wasn't. They could have used compression while he was down there. One of the first things that you're going to try to do is triage something so he becomes portable. Anybody who has been in a combat situation knows you don't move somebody unless it's absolutely necessary, that you triage and you ensure that that person is stable, at least to a point where you're not going to bleed them out, or you're not going to go ahead and have an artery be exposed or have their leg literally rip off. You don't move people. They surrounded him. I said they should have got him off right away, but you don't know what was going on in that huddle. You had like 8 people collapse on him and you had 5 surrounding him. There were people down there. You don't know what was going on. It wasn't like it was 20 minutes. You don't know. Now, quick clot, of course not. I don't think bandages, no. But whenever I cut something, whenever I've hurt myself and I've been stabbed twice and other ailments, first thing I do is I cover it and hold on to it, and I squeeze the area and I ensure that I'm applying pressure. Everybody does that. You grab your finger, oh God, fuck, and then you look, oh God, it's deep. Everyone does that. I guarantee, man, he put pressure on his ear. Stranger things have happened. Maybe he's on a blood pressure medication. Maybe he was cool as a cucumber. Maybe he wasn't pumping as much. We don't know. Maybe he's on a blood thickener. maybe he's on some sort of medication that thickens his. I don't know, dude. But it's not enough to draw these crazy ass conclusions that this was a setup, that Donald Trump did it himself. I'm sorry. That is the most. If you guys can't believe that there was a stolen election, which I don't buy stolen, I believe that it was taken out from underneath us with an unconstitutional election. But if you can't buy that the media lies and that Joe Biden is taking money from China, how in the F do you believe that there was a giant conspiracy that Donald Trump had somebody shoot at him who was a patsy in order to gain sympathy and garner emotional sympathy? Give me a break, man. Don't be a clown.
Is the amount of blood on that towel that the agent was holding consistent with the amount of blood that we would expect from this type of injury to an ear? Some doctors who have perpetuated conspiracies about where the bullet came from are saying that, yes, this is believable.
Great.
But veterans who have experienced this kind of wound, both as somebody who's been shot or as somebody who's treated somebody who's been shot by a .556 round, disagree.
Great.
People with direct experience with this type of weapon and this type of injury are calling bullshit.
Who cares?
I'm one of them.
Who cares? So this kid was shot in the ear, or knows somebody who was shot in the ear. I want to see the case file, and I want you to bring that person on. See, here's the thing: is that, like, if I'm going to tell you that there's a guy who's in MARSOC who has one leg, and he still dives, and he went down to Taipei and helped expose sediment deep in the ocean to go ahead and dig up World War II sailors that had lost their lives. If I can go ahead and tell you that he also was a fireman and a police officer with one leg, and then I don't go ahead and give you any proof of that, then you have a right to call BS on me. But the difference is I would bring Will Fisher onto the show and sit him right here next to me and say, hey, this is Will Fisher. He's a good friend of mine, and he's done all those things. Force Recon Marine, served in the Army as well, deployed 9 times, lost his leg, is still an expert diver, still an expert sniper, fireman, and law enforcement. He's right here. And we're going to talk about his leg injury and how it happened. Okay, that's fine. But you sitting up here and like looking like Luke Perry from 90210, handsome devil, this is stupid. He's not an idiot, but he's presenting in a way that you want to give him credibility. And I want to give him credibility, but for you to sit here and say there wasn't enough blood on the towel, okay, you're an idiot. That's stupid. That's completely dumb.
Unfortunate privilege of being in situations where negligent discharges result in cartilage damage from a 5.56 round from anywhere between 50 to about 500 feet away.
What?
The amount of blood should have changed, given that no compression occurred.
You don't know that.
Any healthcare.
Okay, you have a variable that you're not aware of. Every single Secret Service agent predominantly is either a cop or ex-military, and every single one of them understand triage. I understand triage. Corpsman taught me everything I need to know about triage, because one of my duties as being as an intel apparatus and working with NSWAG is that I had to understand, if the corpsman went down, how to do some basic function and basic triage. Everyone knows how to be a basic field medic, how to dress a wound, how to stop bleeding, how to ensure coagulation, how to apply a tourniquet. Okay, and even give them a hit of Demerol. There's things you're taught, but it doesn't mean that nothing happened in that situation. Do you understand that when John F. Kennedy was shot, November 22nd, 1963, when his head on the final shot, that was supposedly 3 shots, that hit him and blew the back of his skull all across the back of the limousine. Do you know Jackie went to the back and a lot of people thought she was trying to escape? No, she wasn't. She was trying to collect his brains. She was trying to grab the skull. She wasn't trying to get out. She could have just ducked down. She tried to go and scoop up his brains. So even in this situation, the first thing he did when Secret Service got on top of him is they put pressure on his head. There wasn't anything. The back half of his head was gone, the size of a grapefruit. But they tried to put pressure on him. You perform triage in a situation like that. Your job is to save the president's life, and that's also doing preventive maintenance as well.
Professional who says otherwise is being disingenuous. I think it's really important that we all consider that there is a non-0% chance that Donald Trump is lying.
Okay, that's a non-0%. Yeah, this guy's a moron. Now he's an idiot. Yep, he's an idiot. I'll have him on my show anytime. What the I'm getting frustrated. Sorry, I almost said it. I haven't cussed all show. A non 0% chance. Do you understand you just canceled out the number? So that means any other number than 0. So there is a chance. 0 is a overall sum of none, and none is a sum of none. So when you say a none sum of 0, there is not a 0% chance, is what you said. So there's 99% chance it could happen, or a 1% chance, but certainly, or a 0.01 or a 0.000001 carried to infinity, that it could happen, is what you're saying. Is that why you're saying there's a non 0% chance of happening? You freaking, this is, dude, Air Force.
About having been the victim of an attempted assassination. I think that we all need to ask ourselves, regardless of political affiliation, are we 100% confident?
Gene, don't, please. Just, no, I have no desire for you to find it. No. Gene, I am not the Kennedy assassination is one of my most important fantasies and fetishes and areas of study in my life. I've read over 400 books on the Kennedy assassination. I have watched hundreds of hours. I've read the Warren Commission backwards and forwards. I've read every single thing that you could possibly imagine. My uncle was an absolute aficionado at this, and I carried on the legacy. In no way, shape, or form did Jackie O shoot John F. Kennedy. I don't care how convincing some video was. It is impossible. It is ridiculous. And anyone who has fired a weapon would see that the displacement of overall discharge from the weapon and smoke would have been seen. When you fire a gun, it isn't the movies. There is absolutely evidence of discharge, even on an old film like the Zapruder film. Okay, so Gene, with respect, I'm not coming down on you. I'm sure you like the movie. I'm sure I just have no desire to watch stuff like that. I've been seeing that stuff for decades, and my uncle went through it for decades. And the laws of probability on any long enough scale is you only have to prove one thing wrong in a theory to know that it's not true. And that's why it's so darn easy for me to tell you who killed Kennedy, because I've been saying it for 20 years. Because I can disprove every other probability except for one: the US government and the CIA. And the documents, the 14,000 that were just released, better part of 7-8 months ago, directly point fingers at the CIA for being responsible. And confirmation, a lot of people, including myself, have come out and said with no equivocation, the CIA was responsible. Okay? So I just wanted to be clear. And Gene, I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm not. I appreciate your opinion. I appreciate that you watched something that was convincing. I'm just letting you know that Jackie Onassis did not kill John F. Kennedy. Okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all. Fair enough? Cool? Okay.
Given all of the inconsistencies, given all of the anomalies, are we 100?
Why do I think Kennedy was assassinated? Quickly. He didn't want to start the Vietnam War. He wanted to expand civil rights for blacks. He wanted to put a massive amount of debt on the U.S. government that was already stifling from borderline recession. Without the Vietnam War, you have billions upon billions of dollars that would never make day to the U.S. government. He was weak on communism. He was weak on Indochina. He traded missiles with Khrushchev and the Joint Chiefs, CIA, and he fired Alan Dulles, and he tried to dismantle the intelligence apparatus of the United States government. These are U.S. government fat cats who were World War II, who got the Ayatollah out, who were in Iran, who went after the Shah, who run clandestine operations into Vietnam, clandestine operations into Germany, into Japan, going after Enigma machines, going after the Japanese code breaking, doing ungodly amount of stuff. These people were the masters of the universe, and the Office of Strategic Services by Wild Bill Donovan turned into the CIA was absolutely perfect to perform something like this, because we had performed this many times across the world. Once again, You have to ask yourself the question, Lee Harvey Oswald, quickly. Lee Harvey Oswald was trained in linguistics. Why would he be trained in linguistics? Because he was intel. But they said he was a radio operator. End of story. That's it. Every single person who worked intel knows that linguistic is Monterey, California. I've been to Monterey. I went through linguistics in Monterey. Most intel people that are going to be reading message traffic from whether it be Farsi or whether it be Russian or Korean or Chinese have to go through basic understandings of looking for certain letters, certain words, or certain inflection in the overall writings when you're looking at flash traffic, when you're intercepting signal intelligence or photo intelligence or whatever other type of intelligence it would be. Electronic intelligence. The fact that he defected to Russia in the middle of really truly the beginning of the Cold War with Cuba, Russia, had absolute intent and said at the Mexican embassy and the U.S. embassy that he was going to divulge secrets of a military nature to the Russians. The fact that they let him go and that he came back with a wife and a child, something that never happened in Russia. They would hold the wife and the child for leverage and force him to spy on Americans and allowed him to leave. And he wasn't tried for treason the moment that he came back on U.S. soil is enough to tell me that anything involved in the Lee Harvey Oswald saga long before he shot John F. Kennedy had government interference written all over it. And if that's the case, they created him, they nurtured him, they made him, and then he was involved at a very high level. You can look at his offices in Louisiana, was in between the ONI, the NRO, the FBI, the CIA, U.S. Marshals, Secret Service building, Department of Treasury, Department of Justice, literally in the middle of the intel community for Louisiana. He had his office. He also had his office connected to Guy Bannister, who was an ex-FBI agent, who had a lot of ties in the Louisiana district. Clay Bertrand and Clay Shaw, both were CIA, the names and the aliases that they went after were both CIA operatives. Operation Mongoose and the overall Bay of Pigs infiltration, most of the gun running happened straight through Louisiana and then was taken down through the Florida Keys. These things are very easy to understand. Who can remove the bubble top from the limousine? Who can slow down on the turn to Elm? They literally had a premiere hit with vegetation like 2 weeks earlier in the same area. There is no way. Standard operating procedure for Secret Service is to be on that vehicle. It should have had a bubble top. It didn't. It was an uncontained area of opportunity. Windows were open. You see in the Zapruder film, they opened up, multiple umbrellas were opened up that day. None of that would have happened. There was no Secret Service element around the area. And you can look at the details and data from the Warren Commission, and you can look at the overall trajectory of the bullet with the magic bullet theory. You can also look at the pristine bullet that was found in a stretcher, which goes ahead and dissolves the magic bullet theory. That bullet had never went through a human cadaver or a wrist or a car or a seat. It was just a pristine round, perfectly symmetrical from the Marlin Carcano rifle that he used. So we can sit here and we can pontificate and spend all day doing this. It was not the Ku Klux Klan. It was not the mob. Jack Ruby most definitely was with the mob, and the shot on Jack Ruby was to, in my opinion, and this isn't a conspiracy theory, everything leads me to believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was taken out of Dallas alive, that he did not die. And I can go into this for hours and hours and hours, and it's not a conspiracy theory. They exhumed Lee Harvey Oswald's body, and they said, oh, guess what? He's fine. It's him. But there are too many factors on that day that I could tell you that would make you question if Lee Harvey Oswald really died that day. Okay? So anyway, there's your answer. Fair enough? Let's listen to the rest of this, and then we're going to go.
Percent confident that Trump was actually the target of an attempted assassination. I get shared Occam's razor a lot. Occam's razor basically.
Yeah, if you're going to quote Occam's razors and the laws of probability, then your entire argument is done. Okay? Because Occam's razor is very simply when all other facts are dispelled, that the most improbable and unbelievable, although highly hard to believe, ultimately is the truth, is I guess fundamentally correct. But you can prove Bigfoot the same way. He's never been seen. Why? He's never found a body. Why? There's never been any hair found. There's never been any different DNA or any cell structure found that has been collected. There's the footprints that they've shown can be remade by something else or look like it's a fake one. Therefore, Bigfoot is real because none of those things have happened. That's not the way this works. The law of probability will state that when you disprove everything, whether fiction or nonfiction, whatever's remaining ultimately is the truth. Works in the sense that if you can disprove those things, those misnomers and claims, then they just don't automatically become true because you can't disprove them because they are so outlandish and incredible that it's impossible to go ahead and prove it wrong. An example, Donald Trump was shot by a unicorn's horn. Have you ever seen a unicorn? No. Have you ever seen a unicorn's horn? No. Have you ever seen it shoot? No. Well, therefore, you don't know, do you? What? That's not Occam's razor, dude.
Suggests that the most believable scenario is probably the one that's true. The one that takes the least amount of bending, the one that takes the least amount of explaining. The most obvious.
Okay, great. So kid, do me a favor. What's a woman? Case closed. GFY, buddy. Okay? That's not true. Just because something is not complex doesn't mean that the probability is none of zero. It means you're lazy. It means you haven't dug deep enough. Once the simplest answer is usually the right one. Your first reaction is the right one. You see data, you see it happen, and all of a sudden, unless there is something intermittent inside that, which is like fear, like your life's on the line. Because people in high moments of stress with a high amount of adrenaline do not recall things the same about people who don't. In fact, it's fragmentations and usually doesn't come back to full reality, and they can convince themselves of what happened because that's the way that the brain compartmentalizes. But most often are not. Your first reaction to something is usually the correct one. Usually. But don't give me. Thank you, Lee Harvey Oswald, for donating $10. You cheap bastard. It's not that hard. Okay. This guy is he has to disprove the other people shot in the crowd. He has to disprove the audio signatures that we heard. He has to disprove the witnesses, the Secret Service, the video we saw of him climbing, the post that he made on Facebook, the comments that he made, his registration, his overall beliefs. We have to disprove all the video that we saw from CNN and Fox News. We have to disprove the blood wounds. We have to disprove the Secret Service. It's ridiculous. You are simply saying because there wasn't enough blood on a towel that this is a conspiracy. That is the dumbest thing I have heard.
Case is often the actual case. It's ironic to me that Occam's razor is used to dismiss the inconsistencies around what we all watched, around what there is photographic evidence of, around what many veterans have experience around.
Okay, you keep saying that, but you can't keep saying many veterans and not have any veterans. You have a photographic evidence from one of the most absolute biased newspapers and publishers ever in U.S. history that show the round moving at higher than the speed of sound. You see the overall displacement of moisture and air. You see the trajectory of the round. You see the overall trail that it's leaving as it's slicing through the air and displacing atoms. You got photographic evidence of it. What else do you need? The bank accounts was disproved. The bank accounts are a BS cover. That's not true. Explosives, yes.
So somebody is lying.
Yeah, we know.
That's for damn sure. Are the veterans from the last 24 years?
This guy's a putz. I'm done. I'm already done. How many times are you going to bring up veterans? Okay. That is an emotional argument. You're trying to attach veterans as some sort of experts in ballistics, in physics, in medicine, in triage. I'm sorry. Veterans are a lot of things, but they are not experts in all of those things. There is no doubt in my mind. There are guys that if I had questions, I didn't have to ask anyone, was the shooting possible from that position? Because we scoped it out together and I told you I could make all those shots. Except Donald Trump wouldn't have walked away. I would have hit him with the first shot. And so would anybody who had any basic ability that could put a round downrange, who was taking their time. This guy was hurried. Even as a crappy as a shot that he was supposed to be, I have no doubt in my mind if he could have lined up a shot. Thank you, Frank. If he could have lined up his shot and taken his time, he would have hit him. Tiffany Gevin says, you are lying. Who are we talking to? We talking to me? Are you talking to me? Oh, you're talking to him. Yeah, you're talking to him, Tiffany. That was sent to me. That video was sent to me by a viewer. And they said, hey, we want your opinion. So I'm giving it to you. He's using an emotional argument in order to say, what, are you going to call veterans liars? Yeah, I will. I'll be happy to. Because I will tell you this. There's two things that most assuredly are true. Veterans are a unique breed who do something that is thankless and incredible and that most people can't do. And the other thing is veterans treat other veterans like absolute dog crap. There is this new thing where veterans, especially in business, whether it be Grunt Style or 9/11 or 5/11 Tactical or any of the major veteran groups, they treat each other like dirt. They treat each other like dirt. And the same goes true for people who are politically motivated in the military. I am not going to disparage this guy's service. I don't know what he did. I don't care. Good for him. Thank you for serving. What you don't get to do is come up here and espouse a bunch of conspiracy theories and not have me call you out like I called out the J6ers, like I called out the people who said that the vote was stolen. I call out people who say stupid things. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You don't like Trump, that means nothing to me. What means something to me is that you are up here and saying, I'm going to hold my breath and stomp my feet, and you better believe me, because if you don't, you're disparaging veterans. Give me a break. Tommy says, hey, Matt, want to laugh? I had a guy call the store today and said he was taking close quarter combat class and that he had to wear body armor and take a close quarters live round shot to the chest. Yeah, nice. Yeah, with an airsoft. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I've been through CQC, CQB, never had to take a live round to the chest. Never. Nope. Never had to take a rubber bullet. Never. That old adage. A rubber bullet has a probability of creating hemorrhage. It has the probability to break ribs. It has the probability to bruise kidneys. It has the probability to stop someone's heart. It has the probability to rupture your spleen. It has the probability to explode your eyeball. It has the possibility to shatter teeth and jawbone. It has the probability of concussing and where you can't hear, that you will be deaf. It has the probability to create brain movement and brain shock and kill you. It has the probability to actually rupture and damage femoral artery and other arteries and the aorta. Rubber bullets are dangerous. And this whole thing that I had to stand up and take a rubber bullet with no padding, lies. And if you did, whoever your training officer was should be thrown under the jail. Now, have I felt the impact of a rubber round while I am padded and I am covered and protected with some sort of body armor? Sure. A lot of guys have. We also had to go through tear gas training and have that ripped off. But there weren't rubber rounds when I was in. This was after, when I was training at the police department, helping people with with firearms quals. There are, and it wasn't a rubber bullet, it was a bing bag. So when everyone comes and tells you I'm going through CQC or CQB, listen, I'm not GI Joe. I am not an infantryman. I'm not special forces. I worked with the teams. I did intelligence. I got to go around and do things with the teams because I went through a program called NSWAG in Intel. 95, 96, NSWAG was created, NSAG, Naval Special Warfare Activity Group 1 and Activity Group 2, where they took intelligence specialists to start detaching with the teams. And the reason why they did that is for intel briefing, on-the-spot analysis, to get up to the minute right there versus having to call command or have to go through radio comms to get approval to take out an HVT. It was all done on site. That stuff doesn't make me GI Joe. Do I know how to use a firearm effectively? Yes. Do I understand what a weapon is and who the weapon is in the equation? Yes, I do. If somebody decides to go ahead and try to take my life, can I defend myself? Yeah. The best? No. But can I defend myself? Sure. Is somebody always better? Yes. But just because of that, it doesn't make me an expert in physics. It doesn't make me an expert in triage. It doesn't make me an expert in hemorrhaging or non-hemorrhaging. It doesn't make me an expert on ballistics. It doesn't even make me an expert on what a round could or couldn't do because I have put down hundreds of thousands of rounds downrange. And I still don't know everything a round can do or what it will do when it leaves that barrel. Because there are things that it can do that I have never had it accomplish, like negligent discharge. Never. And here's the rule with negligent discharge. Either it's happened to you or it just hasn't happened yet. It happens to everybody on a long enough timeline. You get comfortable with your firearms. I've never had it done, and I hope I never do. But I've never seen it. I've never seen a barrel explode. I've seen a barrel get hot. I've seen it get real hot, but I haven't seen a round cook off in a barrel. I haven't had a dud round. Go figure. I'd have never bought crap ammo. Never had a dud round. I have never been hit with a fragment. I've had shells go down the back of my shirt 1,000 times. Until I finally learned that there are certain ways to certain things you wear when you're firing a weapon, and it's a part of it. There's a lot of things that I haven't seen with a round or I haven't seen with a weapon. It doesn't mean it can't happen. The fact that you have a problem is this. Here's the real problem. Is you just might have to admit, and this is a crazy thing to do. I don't have any proof of this. I can't tell you that it's real or not real, but I can tell you this. And there's some people who are going to say unequivocally, yes, this is true. But you haven't considered the fact that there was some sort of intervention, whether you want to call it karma, whether you want to call it Jesus Christ, whether you want to call it the space Zulu monster up in the sky in a flying saucer. Something happened that created the most improbable outcome for something that was probable to happen only one way, which resulted in his death. And that bothers you. So you have to explain it, just like you have to explain away life, that it's not, it's a clump of cells. Just like you have to explain away censorship, that it's okay that you embraced it in 2016 and 2020, but you're upset now that Elon Musk is allowing conservatives to have a platform on Twitter, versus showing up now when you're saying, oh, it's a conservative hellhole and it's all it is conservative voices. Well, then go in there and start using your voice. It's a free, open market of ideas. But just because you can't explain something, that is why Republicans and Democrats are different. Because predominantly Republicans based the way this nation was founded on Christian faith. And they have a belief structure that you don't possess. They believe in a higher power. They believe that miracles happen. They believe that God is protecting America. Do I believe all those things? No, but I can explain their disposition. You can't. So to you, the only answer is science. And with theoretical physics or ballistics or anything else, the laws of probability tell you that it's impossible what happened when anyone who has seen a child be born, anyone who has witnessed the first words of their child or the step that they took knows that there's a God. Anyone who has sat on the Ventura beaches of California and seen the sunrise and sunset in the same day understands that there's a God. And anyone who has had the good fortune of seeing their life literally ending to be saved at the last minute with no rhyme or reason, whether it be a car accident or terminal cancer that somehow reverses, can't explain the way the world works. And that bothers you, kid. It frustrates you because to you, it's black and it's white. But I'm here to tell you there's a giant gray area. And I think you're going to find that out in November. I really do. I think you're going to wake up and find out that that Democrats rule everything and that conservatives are a dying breed. I don't think you know that really this country is divided 50-50. And although there's more registered Democrats than Republicans, and definitely white people are narrowing thin, and Christianity has seen a huge drop, I think you're underestimating the amount of people who truly are tired of your shit. I think we find out in November. There's my rant. Yeah, and that's the thing about a 5.56. If you watch the trajectory of a 5.56 going in, it has a tendency to do this. So what he just said is, I saw an entry wound, the lateral beltline area, and an exit wound near the clavicle. It's absolutely true. I showed you the diagram of 5.56 rounds and what they do. I got you, Tiffany. Shotgun beanbag, ouch. Yeah. I saw, listen, no doubt. Yeah, if you think that a rubber bullet isn't dangerous, have a guy throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at your head. Now how fast is a rubber bullet moving? That's it, end of story. Anybody who's been hit with a hockey puck? A 92-mile-an-hour hockey puck dead center in your chest. Yeah. That's funny, Thomas. I'm just wrapping up the comments. Amy, you're on fire tonight. She's always on fire. I have bad reload ammo from an auction. Yeah, I buy new ammo. I don't buy reload ammo. I don't like reload ammo. If I don't reload it myself, which I don't know how to do, I don't want it. You know what I mean? And some people have to because it's affordable. And I understand that. I have not, I want to go firing this weekend, shooting this weekend, but I haven't in a while. Ventura Highway in the sunshine where the nights are long and the days are warmer than moonshine. I grew up on the Ventura beaches. I've seen the most beautiful sunsets. I've seen them from one end of the world to the other. I saw them in Japan on the ocean. I saw them in Australia on the ocean. I saw them in Bali. I've seen them in Hawaii. I've seen them in Virginia. I've seen them in California. Yeah, I am so fortunate to have traveled as much as I've traveled. I really am. Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Let's, Keith, good to see you here again. Good to see a lot of people. Listen, I needed some time. I feel so much better. I feel good. I really do. I feel good. I just needed to get away for a little bit, not do so much work and take a little time off. And I'm ready to get back at it. It was a very, very good week and a half of just kind of chilling and breathing. Folks, I want to say another thing. 3,086.98. We are 4 days away from the end of the month. I want to say thank you. For the last 4 months, every month, you guys have hit our goal. We are trying to keep it. I think we've went up $500 in 4 months. We're trying to keep it reasonable. Your giving is incredible. We thank you so much. And honestly, it keeps the show going. There's guys out there like Ben Shapiro or Crowder. They don't need the money. Benny Johnson doesn't need the money. Benny Johnson makes a grip of money. He's a multimillionaire now. We do. We don't, I can show you my W-2. We don't do a lot. But what we do is we tell the truth. We're trying to be consistent, and we appreciate you so much for helping out. If you have the opportunity and you're in a good spot, you're taken care of, you can go to linktapgo.com/thedumbshow, and you can help donate to the show. It doesn't matter whether it's $1, $10, $100. We appreciate it. We didn't do donations for 3.5 years, and we appreciate you. By the way, Documents of Freedom, the box set is still available. You can go and order it at thedumbshow.com. We are shipping out on the 1st. I think we might have everything in stock for the gift boxes, but that's going to be coming between the 1st and the 15th. We're busting our butt to get that done for you. For the gold silver or gold members of the DUM Club. And then the For Which It Stands box will be shipping on 1st or 2nd. And any Documents of Freedom that anybody has ordered. So if you haven't ordered the Documents of Freedom, now's the time to go. We have some extra, and we'll have those continue in stock. And I'm on to put all 75 of those books available on the website, which is incredible. These things are amazing, y'all. I mean, they're leather-bound books. They're awesome. Thank you, Debbie. Leather-bound books, has the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It's got Paul Revere's tales in there. It's got there's some from the Iliad and Homer. They're amazing, all made in America. They're little pocket books, but they are just awesome. There's 75 of them. I think we're going to get them all and put them on the site and do a box set and send it out to you. Anyway, I appreciate everybody. God bless. See you tomorrow. We'll have a recorded show tomorrow in the morning, news in the morning, and then we'll also have a live show. Remember, Damani Felder will be on the house Friday. And would love to have you all been here. Miss your morning shows, Matt. Tracy, I'm trying. It's hard. I'm going to do some morning recorded shows and try to have them out before 10, 11 o'clock if I can. We're going to flip that gear and do that. So thanks, folks. Remember, if you have not been first watch you on your 9/11 episode, any chance of doing another one? Yeah. I don't think there's any reason why we can't. We're getting close. So we'll see what we can do, Tony. You should call in and we can talk about it. But I do recognize your name. That's it, folks. I'm having a good night. I hope you're having a good night. Remember Wimkin. Please do me a favor. Wimkin.com. It's right down there in the lower corner. If you have not been to Wimkin, listen, nobody needs another social media site. But this is different. Our show's on there. There's plenty of great people on there. All the dummies are on there. And I'm not asking you to switch from Facebook or YouTube or anything, but you can add it into your repertoire. It's a good repertoire. It's a good idea. Wimkin.com, 9 million followers. Social media, conservative based, but there are some liberals on there. Go give it a look. It is a very clean site. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff in there, from videos to live chat to images. You can do everything there. It's got massive amounts of storage. It's all secure. It's all free. Sign up, put your email in there, and then your username. Wait a day. Jason approves every account, so there's no bots on the site, which is important. And then you'll ultimately just go put your username and your email in there and it will activate. If you're having any problems, you can reach out to me as well. We're going to end it with the Wimkin commercial and then we're going to say good night. Thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate you. Means a lot. Have a good night. I hope you did too. See ya.
Are you tired of being constantly banned off of every social media platform for saying facts
Oh, this has some language in it, so hopefully you don't mind.
to be proven right 6 months later after you already had to create a new account? Tired of Fuckerberg robot AI-looking bitch constantly putting you in Facebook jail? Or maybe a geriatric old bastard who shits his pants in front of the Pope became the resident-in-chief because his crack addict, traitorous son had complete media silence about traitorous actions and backdoor deals with the big guy. And those bastards ban you for sharing the story. If you said yes to 2 of the 3 above, you don't need to circle back like a failed White House spokesperson who has 2 alcoholic drinks for a name. Up in Wimkin, we think it's fair not to sell your data to China, even though their president is super inclusive and named Xi. We kind of have a problem with the whole harvesting organs, slave labor, and communism. We also don't compromise you or get your kids to do stupid and dangerous trends. So you don't have to find out secondhand your kid Johnny is an idiot. Look no further than Wimkin. Made and housed in the USA, Wimkin offers all the features of Facebook and more, with complete data privacy and safe for your whole family. Download us on your app store today and join the community of users who value privacy and safety. Wimkin.
Good night, everybody.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.